All right, we are officially live. So tonight on Nobody Told Me That, we are going to be talking to a homeowner whose name is Nay. I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself. Go ahead and tell the people who you are.
Hello. My name is Nay. I am 36 years old, and I just bought a house in November of last year.
Woo, woo. Okay, I'm so excited for you. All right, so if you had to describe your journey of home buying in one word, what would that be?
That's a really good question, but hard to answer because I don't know if that journey could fit into one word. I would say, um, enlightening.
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
Mhm.
We're going to dive into why that was your word a little bit later. So
Okay.
before I get into this any further, my name is Dawn Reeves McKinney. I am with eXp Realty, and I found that there was a need for me to have conversations with people who were sitting on the sidelines and nervous about the idea of owning a home. So what we did was we took it to the streets, not really. We went to the DMs, we went online and found people who were willing to share their story about being a first-time home buyer. So that way you're aware that not everybody knows how this process works. So it's just casual conversation for us to share with people what your experience was like. So that way they know it's not like HGTV and you go looking for a house in 2 days and all of a sudden you're a homeowner. So we are here to talk about what it's really like. So I appreciate you for spending time with us, Nay.
Absolutely. I'm excited for the opportunity because I was one of those people that had no idea what to expect. And for a very long time, I was afraid to even start the process because what am I getting myself into? Everybody that I knew that had bought a home that was giving me like a heads up on like what to expect was older people. And so my friends who had bought homes, they just kind of dived into it where it was like, 2020 happened, COVID was there, and the housing market was in a good space and people were just buying homes. And I'm like, so was it easy? Is it hard? Because I'm hearing, mixed stories, mixed signals. And it wasn't until I actually like started to sit down and ask real questions that it was like, okay, I can do this.
I love that. And being honest about the fact that, like, you ask. Like, that's what we expect people to do. You ask questions. I think a lot of the time, and especially like, I just found out about TikTok for real. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. And I can see how that can be a little bit scary about seeing all of like the fear tactics being thrown on like, oh, you have to do it this way, or if you don't buy a house today, like you're never gonna get a house. And
Hmm.
that makes people feel really uneasy. So I'm really happy that you said that you noticed like a gap in the people who have already purchased homes before, because I think the experience is very different.
Absolutely.
All right. So tell me, when did you decide like I'm actually going to do this? Like, did you talk to one person and you say, you know what? No, I definitely can do this. If they can do it, I can do it. Like, at what point did the like light bulb go off to say I'm going to do this?
So honestly, the light bulb never went off. I actually was kind of like pushed and forced into the situation a little bit. Um, a couple of my friends, like I said, had bought houses back in 2020 and 2020, 2021, coming out on the back end of COVID. And I always wanted to own a home. And that's the goal, right? You want to have a house. But my mindset was when I get married, when I have children, I'm going to buy a home with my husband and have a place for my family. In my mind, I don't need to buy a home by myself. So that was that. So the friends of mine that did buy houses were single, no children. So it was like, okay, so single people are buying houses, but why? And the idea more so just came from me feeling like I was behind the curve because, as I said, I'm 36. I'm pretty established in my career. Why don't I have a home yet? And so there came this like maybe like in 2023 going into 2024, there was like this rush of like, I gotta buy a house, I gotta buy a house. And it just wasn't working out for me. So I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it, Nay. Like it ain't your time right now. Things was kind of crazy with the market. Those scare tactics, people like, oh, you should have bought a house at the end of COVID. If you didn't, you're never gonna own. And so I'm like, well, I'm cool with renting. That's fine too. What's the point of having a house anyway? I had talked myself into believing that I didn't care anymore. And I have a couple of friends and family members that are realtors. And one of my girlfriends that's a realtor was like, hey, so there's this program that they have in Manatee County. I live in Manatee County. There's a program in Manatee County. They have it in all kind of counties, but this is the one that I know of where you can get, your it's a first time home buyers program, but it's really good. She's like, I think you should look into it. At the time she brought it to me, though, like I was not in the mindset of buying a house. So I'm like, girl, I don't know what my credit score is right now. I don't know what's going on with my finances. If they go to pulling and prodding, because everyone says, oh, they comb through your finances and what you're spending and this. And I'm like, I haven't been in like paying attention to that stuff because this was the farthest thing from my mind. So she was like, well, you could just try. And if you don't get it, then you don't get it. But, at least put the application in and see. I honestly did not think that I was going to get approved. So I literally just filled out the application because she told me to fill it out. And so I filled it out, turned it in, and put it to the back of my mind, like, okay, whatever. And then they emailed me and was like, all right, and we're about to start this process. Okay, so this is happening. And so that's how this process started for me. It was no aha moment or like, oh, this is the time is now. It was just kind of like really on a whim.
When you got the email, that's when the time was now.
Right.
So I really like how you mentioned the idea of like, you kind of were disqualifying yourself before you talk to the professionals, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's a really big one. Like if I could just like print that out and put that on my forehead every time we have conversations with people, because how many times do we disqualify ourselves and we're not even the trained professional for whatever it is? So love that you mentioned that. And once the ball starts rolling, I don't think people understand how fast this can happen. So
and even with that, I still was disqualifying myself because, okay, yeah, I got accepted into this program, but the stipulations of the program was you have to find a lender, get what's it called?
the pre-approval?
Pre-approval, find a house, be under contract in the time that they're going to start awarding this money. Like you have to already be in the process. So it's like, okay, you guys agreed to, do this, let me be a part of this program, but am I still going to be able to afford a house? Is someone going to lend to me? Like I have not been preparing myself to buy. So what are these lenders actually looking for? And I was very hesitant about that. I think when I got my email, I didn't even like reach out to the lender or start that whole process of actually trying to find a house till like 2, maybe 3 weeks later, because I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to even be like, girl, you can't afford a house right now. And I know me, I know my taste, and I'm like, I don't want no little baby house. Like, right. What I'm about to do?
Which you do not have a baby house, by the way.
I do not have a baby house.
You do not have a baby house. So it is very possible that with the right tools and being aware of like what's hyper local. I think that's something else you mentioned that I definitely want to kind of key in on, that is that working with somebody who knows what's actually offered in the area is super important, right? So by her having the knowledge about, hey, this is a great resource, maybe you should check it out. You didn't have to do it, but you decided to give it a chance. Why not? And I think there are so many people who think that there's no money out here for programs like this, especially with the climate of our country right now. And live example, guys, there's money out here. There's down payment assistance. There's first-time home buyer programs. There's specific to counties, and maybe the amounts change, but there's money out here for you to purchase a home. It's not impossible. I do feel like there are hurdles that maybe people can get discouraged. But at what point did you have like an expectation of what it was supposed to be? And the reality was like, oh, wait, it's not that.
You know what? I think in the beginning, I was very like the expectation was this is going to be hard, and I was afraid. But, and I don't know if it's because of the type of program that I had. So I want to put that disclaimer out. This is my first time buying a home, and it was like very easy, almost shockingly easy, because literally when I talk about this process to other people, they are surprised that it flowed as smoothly as it did and it went as well and as quickly as it did. And I'm like, okay, so is this not normal? Because to my understanding and what I had heard in the past, it was not like that. So my experience was a blessing, to say the least, because the way my anxiety is set up, like this would have been a very terrible situation to be a part of had it not been so easy.
So with that, I think it's also very important for us to talk about, like, I compare the home ownership journey to a pearl, right? So like when you think about how a pearl is formed, like there's some irritants, there's some things like that layer on top of layer, and it creates this beautiful gem that we call a pearl. So everyone's journey is different and it's unique
Right.
and beautiful to them. So like something as simple as filling out an application, like, hello, you are a professional woman, like you have no problem with paperwork. But to somebody who's like, I don't want to give out all my information,
Mm-hmm.
that could be very difficult for them.
And they be all
So,
in business.
oh, I mean, you're asking for money. They want to know, what are you
Mm-hmm.
doing?
Right.
Like, before we give you this money. And I think that's also something to commend you for, is that a lot of people get started and they just stop because they feel like it's too many steps.
Yeah.
So the fact that it flowed for you so effortlessly, I love that you had that experience, because for some it does not, and a lot of the times it's because they put hurdles in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so thank you for being transparent about it being scary at first.
And if I
Um,
could kind of add to that, I think for me, what made it so easy is because there are hurdles, and I avoided a lot of that because I had been thinking about buying a home before. So at that time, which was only like a year and a half prior, I was kind of lining things up and being more responsible when it came to my finances. um my job had shifted, but then I ended up getting a pay increase, so that was very helpful. But just being mindful of the fact that when I was looking, I realized how irresponsible I was being, and kind of dialed it back a little bit, because
okay.
I'm like, at this point, at some point, I do want to buy a home. So being conscious and aware of what they are looking for and having that knowledge beforehand was helpful.
So let me ask you, like, on your journey, did you talk to, because I know some people get confused about that conversations with the lender. Like, did you talk to multiple lenders? Did you only talk to one? Like, what was that process like, talking about your finances with a stranger?
Girl, let me tell you how I just kind of got pushed into this situation. So, for all the new homeowner people out there that have never done this process before, there's a thing, and apparently this was not a thing before, because again, I've looked at houses before and this was not a thing, and now it is, where if you go look at a house with a realtor, that's your realtor. You are going to then be put into a contract that if you buy a home that this realtor has shown you, this is your realtor. Like, you can't then come back with your own realtor and start the process. And I did not know that. I was not aware of that. That's something that I learned on this journey. On top of that, when you go through a new home buyers program, a lot of them are kind of tied with certain lending companies and realtors, and like, so you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to bring my realtor over here and we're going to do this program, because your realtor may not be able to offer you that program. So mine just kind of came packaged in a little bow and handed to me like, here's a realtor that you can work with this program, because they're going to show you this house, and this is the lender that they work with, and this is also the building company that they do a lot of deals with. Because even with that, she took me to specific, I decided I wanted a new build. She took me to specific builders that work directly with her company and the lending company. So it kind of was like a one-stop shop. So I did not talk to multiple lenders, talk to multiple realtors. It was kind of like, since you're doing this program and you're looking at this house, here's this realtor. She comes with this lending company. These are the builders we can look at, and that's what you get to choose.
So you hit so many things in that, right? Like the first one is things have changed. So great news is for us because we're in this real estate game after COVID. And after all of the lawsuits. So that document she's talking about for y'all watching is called an exclusive buyer broker agreement. So it's basically saying like you are exclusively working with this individual. And unless it's in writing, otherwise, that is your realtor, like she said. And then if you are seeing properties, it's very important to know the relationship that you have with them. So that way you know what their interests and how they're invested in wherever it is that you're going. So I really want us to also pay attention to the fact that Nay said she got a new build. First time home buyer in new construction property. How many times have you seen, oh, I can't afford new construction? Actually, new construction is actually very competitive to resale properties right now. There's so many options. There are so many incentives. So very possible to get a new construction home. She's the first one to ever live in that house and a first time home buyer. So I know like my friend is bougie. Okay. I'm going to give her that. So it's checking all the boxes. And if we're going to take it a step further, you mentioned something about, hey, I don't have a problem with renting. The rental expectation versus your mortgage expectation, was that fairly the same, or was that like reality check? I didn't know that I can get this much house with the same thing I was paying for rent.
Absolutely, for less than what I was paying for rent. You hear that all the time where it's like, oh, mortgage is typically cheaper than rent, but it's just kind of like, but is it really when you think about all the things you have to do and the this and the that? But yes, it still is, especially if you get a new build, because you're not replacing the AC, you're not fixing the roof, you're not doing anything. You're moving into your home and you're enjoying your home. And my mortgage plus all of my living expenses is still cheaper than I was paying to live in a rental property. And the only thing is, if anything goes wrong here, I'm expected to take care of it. But again, as I said, everything here is brand new and everything here is under warranty. So that's not something that I have to worry about, at least for the next 5 years.
That's right. That's right. Get your money's worth, sis. Okay, so now we're going to jump into some questions that maybe we didn't quite hit on yet, but I know they pop up a lot. So was there anything in your process that you felt like you were blindsided on? Like, oh, snap. Like, I know you have been looking earlier, but like, did anything catch you completely off guard?
I'm going to say no. Outside of that, if the realtor shows you the house, you have to go with that realtor. I was not expecting that. And because I didn't know about that, and the people who had bought homes before me, that was not their experience. So nobody knew to tell me that. It was just something I learned. But other than that, I'm trying to think. I don't think so. I think I didn't realize they went so much into your finances. Like they were like, send me the last 3 months, whatever. And then they would call or email to ask specifically about, well, what are these Apple Pay transactions? Or we see these cash apps happening here. What's going on with that? Do you have another job? And I'm like, girl, no, I just travel a lot. I'm sending money to people because we going on cruise trips.
That's right.
It was just me, and it was nothing crazy in my finances. So I didn't mind explaining that. But maybe if I had some other stuff going on, it did feel a bit invasive, but it was kind of like, okay, well, like you said, you're asking these people for money, so they need to make sure that you're able to pay them back this money. So I think that was really it. Just how easy the process was, to be honest. Like, I think that's why I say enlightening when you asked about the one word. I went into it so fearful, and halfway through, I was able to actually breathe and enjoy the process, because it was enjoyable once I kind of let that guard down. Mm-hmm. So that caught me off guard, how easy it was.
And then I want you to fill in this sentence. Nobody told me that blank. And I want that to be something that you would want to share with someone else. was thinking about getting off the sidelines. Nobody told me that blank.
Nobody told me how proud I would be once I finally made the decision to just do what I always said that I would do.
That was good. That was good. What is a moment that you wish someone had warned you about before you even considered buying a home? Not even the application part, like from the very beginning, like the thought of buying a house popped in your head.
Warned me about, as if it was like something bad or
Not necessarily bad. So like you talked about being fearful about it. So like, is that something that you would, if you could go back and warn yourself about, would you say like maybe don't be afraid of something, like allow yourself to experience it? Like what would be something you would warn
yes,
about?
I would I would have and I hope that I can be that to other people, to yes, let people understand that what is for you is for you. And when it's your time, it's your time. Like how things just kind of fell into place the way that it needed to for me, it's because it was my time. It didn't do it before because it wasn't my time. And so I want to encourage people, and I wish people would have encouraged me that, like, just go with this, see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, it's okay. It just means that it's not time right now, because there was so much about it that could have been more enjoyable had I not been so like, oh my God, like now what? And is this gonna, I was so scared because people tell you, oh, you'll get right to the door and it'll drop and you won't be able to buy that house. And I felt so invested, and I'm like, I don't want to like this house too much, or I don't want to like this too much, and then I don't get to keep my house. So yeah, just to kind of, just enjoy every moment of it, even the fear. Even if I could have allowed myself to be okay with the discomfort, that would have been cool.
So I have to say, like, because we are in the era of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, what is the best piece of advice you got when you were browsing online? And what was the worst piece of advice you got when you were browsing online?
Just as a, like, looking for the house, or once I got in the house?
It can be either one.
The best piece of advice I got was to create a registry and let my friends and family that love me put stuff in my house. Because that feels overwhelming. Like, okay, I've got this big ass house. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you I have this nice size home, and now I have to put things in it to make it look like a home. And I just spent all this money buying this home. And so, I feel like, so being able to create a registry and let people gift me things to put in my home made the process that much easier. What did you ask me? I'm sorry, girl.
And the worst, like when you were online, what was the worst piece of advice you saw?
Yeah, just everybody making me like the fear mongering of interest rates and not being able to keep your home once you get there. Like there's reasons why, if you go into the process of buying a home and it doesn't work out, that it doesn't work out. It's not just, oh, you're looking at this house, you're going through the process and everything's great, and then it doesn't work out. Like you said earlier, everybody's experience and journey is different. Ask questions. The lender that I was given, I won't say who they are.
Please, no. No. You can keep them.
I would say some of them were helpful. I asked a lot of questions though, and it's crazy because some of the questions that I was asking, because I was told to ask my lender, was getting answered by my realtor. So it was like, it kind of made me feel like, well, y'all the one that's supposed to be giving me this money. Y'all should be answering these questions about this money.
Mm-hmm.
But that just comes with the territory, I guess. I feel like I still didn't answer your question. But I don't even know why I was saying that.
I think because that was the experience that you haven't like dived into that bothered you. That sometimes services randomly, but
Oh, worst thing. So
yeah,
yes, so some stuff was coming up that felt scary. It's
okay,
because I just didn't know and I felt like I didn't have access to the answers.
okay,
And so I was just gonna say, if things are feeling off or things aren't making sense, like ask questions and be more assertive than me, because anybody that knows me knows that I can be a bit passive. And so that was a struggle that I had, which kind of then made that fear even more. And so shout out to my mom because she was like, no, I'll call them. What you need to know?
that's right.
I'll ask.
So I love that you admitted to sometimes these lenders can be intimidating because yeah, they know what needs to be put in these paperworks and these line items and what these things mean. But as a person who's going to be taking on this responsibility, you have a right to know what these things mean. And you shouldn't be made to feel like you're bothering them for doing their job. And I find that too, like, it's very discouraging when you have a homeowner or a future homeowner who's super excited about the process, but then you get this really dry or this really like non-engaging lender. So,
Yeah,
well, it's like you are disrupting the flow of the experience because you're annoyed because you're working with a first-time home buyer that has questions. Then, sir, ma'am, maybe you need to get another job or put us with someone who's not bothered by us asking these questions.
right,
So that was awesome that you had the support of your realtor because a lot of people don't. And I think that's something else to say too is, when you feel like you're not being supported, speak up. That's when your realtor comes in and says, hey, what the heck is going on? Like they're your
right,
advocate. So love that you were able to have people in your corner and put your foot down because this is your money. This is
right.
for your house.
And don't be afraid to walk away from that house if
Mm,
the realtor ain't acting right. Like,
mm,
yes, it was a situation where you might get stuck with a realtor or put with a realtor that you don't know, or a situation happens where this is the person that's helping you buy the home. But if it doesn't feel right and they're not communicating and they're not answering questions and making the process feel safe,
mm.
okay, you can find another house, because you don't want to get in that house and then all these behind the scenes start coming forward and you don't know what's going on. So
That
I will
part.
say that, like, it was strange and a little awkward at first, but my realtor actually turned out to be a very dope person. She was always available and very responsive to like questions that I had, even that she didn't have to, like it really should have been the lender getting back to me, letting me know what's going on. And she was uh, emailing them, copying me in it, like, hey, what's going on? Like showing me that, yes, I work with them and this is my money, but your comfort in this process matters to me too. And so that was helpful.
I love that. And then I think as we are coming to a close, something that I think is super important is people forget like once you get the keys, like it looks so cute, right? But now that you're actually in the house, like I don't even think you fully settled in yet, right? Because life has been lifing.
Right.
But now that you are officially a homeowner, how does it feel? How does it feel to not be searching anymore, putting in paperwork or applications and answering phone calls about what you're doing with your money? Like, how does it feel to actually be the owner of that space?
It's still strange, to be honest. And I've been in my space since November. Like I moved in the weekend after Thanksgiving. And there are still some mornings that I wake up and I'm like, girl, this your house. Like, sitting on my couch and going into my fridge, cooking on my stove. It's just kind of like a very, like I said, a proud feeling. Like, okay, you did this. So it is a sense of pride for sure. And when I'm talking to people and I'm like, oh yeah, when I bought my house, and they're like, oh, you got, and it's like, yeah, I bought a house. And so just that sense of pride and accomplishment, and just kind of like, again, it's still very surreal. Like I did that.
I love it. So we are at the end of our talk. I mean, essentially, that's what this was. I hope that you felt like you have inspired someone out here to get up off the sidelines because you have given a lot of information that I think a lot of people are afraid to admit to. Because you are so fresh into your journey, I think that's the best time to share it because you remember, like it was just yesterday
Right.
versus someone who, they forget how much they wanted to be in the space and then all they're doing is complaining about the HOA, unfortunately.
Right.
And it's like, but remember when you wanted to own the home. It's, so it's like, I need you to go back to the journey of being a homeowner. Because there's going to be hiccups and bumps with everything, right? Even if you're
Absolutely.
renting, it could be the management team, it could be the people don't want to take their trash out. Like it's always something. But when you choose your heart and it's something that you want to do, I feel like it makes it so much more worth it. So when you're paying that bill or when you are fixing that light or whatever the case may be, it's like, I worked for this. Like, this is
Right.
mine.
It's mine.
I love that. And I just really appreciate you taking the time to share with all the people who are going to be watching. And even if you are not based in Florida, this is great information. Every state has its own rules. I think it's important for us to remind people that we're located in Florida, so our rules are different. But in terms of the National Association of Realtors, they are very strict about if you are a real estate agent working with a home buyer, you need to explain what your job is. You should be able to say what you're getting paid to do. And if your realtor can't do that, guys, you can love your cousin all day. You can love your bestie's best friend. But if they're not servicing you the way that you need to be serviced, you better say something, okay? Or work with someone else. Or I know we used to make a joke about like you need to start dating people. And I'm like, what? Like, clearly our dating pools are so trash. Like, we would be making better choices. But you have to treat it like that. Like, you deserve to have the best thing. And I think Nay's story is very important because she had a team, right? So even if there were some people on the team that weren't pulling their weight the way that you wanted them to, it was still a team effort. People picked up the slack wherever they needed to. And I think that's so important is when you're on a homeownership journey to remember you want people on your team who are helping you accomplish the goal, and the goal is to get you your keys and help you keep your keys.
Oh, the last thing I want to add, if you don't remember nothing else, if you buy a home that is a new build, and this is what I wish people would have told me. So I'm going to tell y'all, you are disturbing nature when you buy a new build. So when you do that, you're going to have ants and spiders and all kind of little creatures trying to come in your house because you are in their natural habitat. So invest in a good pest control.
Not the one that online that you buy and do it yourself, a professional.
Right. Because there's lots of little spaces and new places for the ants to come in. And that was a real big thing for me in the beginning. And if you know me, then you know that was a whole ordeal.
Well, once this gets settled and you guys are an established neighborhood, they'll go around. They'll figure it out. I love you. Thank you for taking the time to be on our call.
Love you too. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Of course. So for the people out there, if you are interested in learning more about the Central Florida market, I specifically service Orlando, Florida. I would love to help you on your journey so we can help you get your keys. I did not represent Nay. However, she is my friend, and it was very important for her to share her journey and let you know that it doesn't matter about who you work with. It's about you being well informed and working with the best team for you. Okay. So my information is in the link below or somewhere in my bio. I would love to get connected. If you guys have any questions or if you want to reach out to Nay, you can go ahead and put them in the chat and she reads comments, guys. She will get back to you. And I appreciate you all. And that's it for us tonight.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.